Okay, so now we're going to do domain and range intermediate. Again, remember, domain is always your x values, range is always your y. This says in the linear equation shown which variable would represent the range. So you know range is y, so that would be a. Okay. Also remember that m is your slope, x is your independent or your input or your domain, and b is your y-intercept. So this one says, what is the domain of the function? Don't let things like this confuse you. X goes first, y comes second. So your domain would be all of your x values. Okay, it would be 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005. It says, what are the domain and range of this relation? First thing you need to do is make sure you know all of the coordinates. A is -2, 3. B is +3, 2. C is 1, -1. D is 3, -1. And E is -2, -4. So the domain would equal, I'm going to write it down here below it, -2, 3. I've got another 3 down here, so I'm not going to repeat it. 1 and -2. And then your range would be all your y values. 3, 2, -1. I've got another -1, so I'm not going to repeat it. And a -4. So that's how you figure out the domain and range of that relation. Select each table that represents a relation with a domain of -1, 2, and 3. Domain is x values. So we've got a -1, we've got a 2, we've got another 2, we've got another 3. So that's good. We've got a -1, no 2, and no 3, so that one's out. We've got a -1, a 2, a 3, but we also have a 5, so that takes that out. We have a -1, a -1, a 2, and a 3. So we've got 2 that have the domain of -1, 2, and 3. All right, which table represents a relation with a domain of -2 and 1? So let's find that first. -2 and, or excuse me, -1 and 2. That one works. -1 and 2, that one works. -1 and 2, this one does not because it has extras. And the last one does not have a domain of a -1 and 2. So we're down to 2 choices here. So now we need a range, which is y values of 3 and 5. So there's a 3 and a 5. There's also a 4 and a 6, so that's not going to work. This one has a 3, a 5, a 3, and 5. So that means B is your answer for that one. Alright, which set has a domain of 2 and 3? That means x values, and a range of 5 and 8. So x values of 2 and 3. 2, 3, 3. That worked. 3, 2, 3. That works. 5. Nope. That one will not work because it just needs x's of 2 and 3. And then D won't work because it's got 8s in the x spots. Now we need y values of 5 and 8. There's an 8, there's a 5, and there's a 0. That won't work. This is a 5, a 5, and an 8. So B is definitely your answer for that question as well. All right, the next one we're going to go to is domain and range advanced.